All right, welcome in everyone. This is Jordan with Ravens Flash Report. Ravens get another win on the board. This is their third in the row as they go up to Minnesota and take down the Vikings 27-19. It was a good game. It was again not perfect, but to see the offense sort of struggle to get out the gate a little bit. We saw that Vikings defense, which was we knew going into it they were pretty good at getting after the quarterback, and with this offensive line, it was going to be a little bit of a struggle. But to see the defense step up the way that they did was, I think, fantastic to see. Um, wanted to go through a few things. We'll get to the numbers in a little bit, but just when it comes to getting pressure, it was good to see. We didn't get a lot of sacks. We got one sack, I think, for like 3 yards. It was just Travis Jones, but as far as getting pressure on the quarterback, Draymond Jones, the new guy that we just traded for from the Titans, he got some pressure. Kyle Hamilton got some pressure a couple of times. Teddy Buchanan was in there, and then obviously the sack by Travis Jones. So it was good to see our guys get some pressure. It was good to see guys. I mean, I would have liked to see more of Mike Green. I would have liked to see more of Kyle Van Noy. Really haven't seen too much of them. Certainly not KVN. Mike Green was back there, I think, once. It's good we're getting pressure. The way we're getting pressure, though, is seemingly by sending guys from other positions that are not outside linebackers to go in and try to take care of getting after the quarterback, which is it's kind of a shame. But I guess at this point, this is how we're doing it, and at least we are getting some pressure. Getting into the rest of the defense that played well, they played well in coverage, which I know a lot of people are probably surprised about. I mean, I'm wearing my Humphrey jersey. He had a hit or miss day. He did have the interception, but he had the big missed tackle on the first big play of the game. Was kind of lucky that Gilman was there to save the touchdown, even though obviously they ended up running it in anyway. It seemed like, I don't know if Marlon has an issue with his arm or something, or if he's going back to try and just punch the ball out every single time he's near a guy to tackle. But it seemed like, especially in the second half, every time he went to tackle somebody, he would just go in with one arm, and the other arm was either like hanging off to the side, or I don't know. He wasn't tackling with really good form, and I don't know if it's due to an injury or something, or if again he's just trying to constantly go for the ball. I'm not really sure, but kind of an up and down day for Marlon. Kind of an up and down day for Wiggins, though more up than down. Um, but overall, the defense, they did have 13 pass deflections on the day, and they held Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to a combined 7 receptions on 23 attempts, and 72 yards and no touchdowns. Um, Obviously, the Ravens did struggle a bit with the other wide receiver for them. Who is it? I don't even remember his name. Feel bad, but he's been playing well for them. Naylor, yeah. So he's been playing well for them recently. He had five receptions on 6 targets, 124 yards and a touchdown. But overall, I mean, again, like, the Ravens defense is obviously focused on the threat that is Justin Jefferson. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. Um, and I saw some people saying, oh, well, the Ravens defense should be better against guys like Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson as they face T. Higgins and Jamar Chase all the time. Historically, we don't play very well against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So that is a comparison that I'm glad we played well against Jefferson and Addison, but to say we should play well because we played Chase and Higgins that doesn't work, unfortunately. If we played better against them, then maybe, but that's not necessarily the case. Also, the turnovers. The turnovers have been getting a lot better for the Ravens over the past few games. And even against the Rams, I've noticed a trend. Obviously, we didn't win the game against the Rams, but I mean, in order, we've allowed teams to score 17 points against the Rams scored 17 points, and then the Bears scored 16. Obviously, the Dolphins scored 6, and then 19 points in this game. So we've allowed under 20 points in every game so far since week 5. So again, the offense was not really there, obviously, during the Rams game, and even with the Bears game, it was good. Obviously, Snoop did way better than uh, Cooper Rush, but again, the defense has really been showing out for about 4 games in a row. And I have some numbers here just because I thought this was interesting. Because one of the things I said in my preview video was that I'm looking at how the Ravens' run defense does in this game because they've held teams to under 100 yards in the run game for 4 games in a row. And before that, every game has been over 100 yards on the ground. So they've tightened up the run defense. And these are the numbers of the Ravens' defense over the last 4 games versus just the running backs. So against the Rams, we allowed 73 yards on 18 carries, which is 4.05 yards per attempt and 1 touchdown. Against the Bears, it was 69 yards on the ground by running backs for 18 carries, 3.8 yards per attempt for 1 touchdown. Dolphins was 73 on 16 carries, 0 touchdowns. And then the Vikings was 72 yards on 13 carries, 1 touchdown at the beginning of the game, 5.5 yards per attempt. Now, again, this is just running backs. McCarthy, he had a couple of big runs against us, especially there in the fourth quarter, which, again, I think that boils down more so to we weren't expecting him to do that at that time because it ate a lot of clock. And I don't know. Again, you got to get the first down. They're playing in desperation mode. Was that the smartest move of McCarthy to take off and run? If everybody's covered, you got to do what you got to do. But I think that big run came more so from the Ravens defense not being, ready for him to take off and try to get, 25, 26 yards, whatever it was on that run. But again, the turnover margin in this game was huge. While our offense was somewhat struggling to get its feet against the Vikings, especially in the red zone, which I touched on this in the preview video. The Vikings are a good red zone defense. They're a good third down defense as well, but in the red zone, they really lock it in, and the Ravens are not a good red zone team. And again, whether it's play calling, whether it's execution, I still feel like the play calling is leaving something to be desired. But in this game, the turnovers were the difference maker, in my opinion, because if the Ravens are just kicking field goals, which again, shout out to Tyler Loop, he did miss a 56-yarder, but that was his second miss of the season, and both of his misses are over 50 yards. But it was his second miss of the season. He was 4 for 5 on the day, and again, his kickoffs are getting better. I see a lot of people on on social media and Reddit and stuff saying that Tyler Loop and his issue with kickoffs and everything, and we need to go out the draft and get another guy. And look, he missed his second field goal of the season, and both of which were over 50. Um, it's a new rule. It's something they don't have in college. It's something he's getting used to, and throughout the season, he's gotten better at the new kickoff rules. So if your only knock on him is that, you know, he's not 100% beyond 50 and he's adjusting to the kickoff rule, I think he's been doing a pretty good job as a rookie kicker for us. But getting back to the defense, the interception by Stark, that's his second in as many games. So it's really good to see he's adjusting well, especially to that open space, playing that free safety. Again, that's allowing the Kyle Hamilton to go in and do his job, which is everyone's job, obviously, since he's one of the guys getting pressure and everything. And then the fumble recovery. So Jackson, they said he was a rookie, undrafted rookie. You know, he made his way from the practice squad onto the starting roster. He got called up for 3 games in a row. I think they activated him to the 53 roster. And how does he thank the Ravens? He comes out and he gives them a turnover on special teams on that kick return. So, I mean, the turnovers were huge in this game because, again, like I said, offense isn't doing too much, especially not in the red zone. But with these turnovers, we're getting at least a chance to put points on the board. All right, it was like 7-3, and then 7-0, 7-3, and then it was 10-3, and then it was 10-6, 10-9, 12-10. So those turnovers really kept the Ravens in the game when their offense was struggling, especially in the run game. Again, it was similar to the Dolphins. It was a pedestrian run game in the first half of this game, and it's unfortunate to see. I see a lot of people talking about Henry's washed, all these kind of things. The offensive line is bad. It's just bad. Lamar's numbers are down. Hill's numbers are down. Keaton Mitchell's the only one, and that's because Keaton Mitchell is a firecracker. He's literally shot out of a cannon every time he gets the ball, whether it's inside, outside, upside down, it doesn't matter. If Keaton Mitchell has the ball and there's not a gigantic wall of human beings in front of him, which, to be honest, half the time there is, because this offensive line is so bad at blocking that even Keaton Mitchell's speed can't outrun physics. It's unfortunate, but if you want Henry to be able to do the same things in the first half, it is going to leave you wanting. But I digress. So the Ravens' run game, they had 152 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown on 36 attempts. The Vikings, they did held us, like I said, they held us in check until late in the game. Bad blocking by the Ravens' offensive line yet again. Emory Jones is practicing. Is Emory Jones going to come in and do a better job than Faalele? If that replacement is even made. Again, I think Kevin Ostreicher from the other Ravens podcast, he was talking about how while the Ravens are winning, they're probably not going to change it, and unfortunately, that is true. But God, it's got to be better than what Faalele is doing. It's got to be better because I mean, he's missing assignments. He's clogging up run. He's doing the job of the defense for them. He's getting in the way of the running backs. He's missing blocks. He's allowing guys to come in free at Lamar Jackson. Even the screen pass. There's this beautiful screen pass that they played. The Ravens did. They played pretty well right to Henry. And, oh, look at that. Faalele can't block the guy that's right in front of him from going the one direction he needed to stop him from going from. Huge surprise. I know. All the Ravens fans are sitting here going, what? Faalele missed a block? That's crazy. Again, it's I think it's frustrating because watching this offensive line struggle and knowing that the players around them could be so much better if, again, Lamar had time to pass, if Henry had lanes to run through. But again, it's you're dealing with these issues, and we as fans, we have to sit here and watch it. But we just have to hope that, again, something happens. Maybe Emory Jones replaces him. Maybe Faalele gets better. That's not going to happen. But whatever. It is what it is. Drops were actually a huge issue for the Ravens today. And that kind of stinks because last week with Lamar coming back, he was a little rusty, not too rusty. I mean, he had 143.2 passer rating or something like that. But he missed a couple throws early. This game, Likely and Andrews both missed huge pass plays on, I think it was like the second or third drive of the game. It was early on. And then Bateman also missed that big one. It was a little bit behind him, but again, the rule of thumb, if you want to say it, for wide receivers in the NFL, pass catchers, if you can get your hands on it, especially both hands, you should catch the ball. Obviously, he came back and he made the 2-point conversion and whatnot, but seeing a couple drops, that is a little bit frustrating, especially when the offense is kind of struggling anyway. Dropping passes that are thrown by Lamar Jackson, especially ones that would be either first downs or touchdowns, it's a little frustrating, I'm sure. We touched on this earlier. The red zone play calling and execution is still leaving a lot to be desired. The Ravens were the Ravens went 2 for 5 in scoring touchdowns inside the Minnesota 20. So 5 trips inside the 20, 3 of them ended in field goals, 2 of them ended in touchdowns. And again, is it player execution or is it play calling? I feel like the play calling is really stunting their ability to be creative and play to their strengths. And then at the same time, when they do get opportunities, like you saw Lamar run, and the blocking was there and they were able to get outside, that's player execution, right? Henry didn't get a perfect block on the guy, and he was able to kind of get up and stop Lamar. Would Lamar have made it to the pylon? Who knows? But again, the player execution matters, but if the play calling doesn't put them in good positions to succeed, there's only so much the players can actually do. So, and like we said earlier, the Vikings are a good red zone team. I forget what it was exactly, what their ranking was. So they were 5th. They're the 5th best team in the league at red zone, allowing red zone touchdowns. uh, in the league before this game, and they're seventh best at third down percentage. So that was it was good to see that we were a little bit better on third downs in this game. Um, but again, the red zone, that's been an issue for the Ravens, and the Vikings are good in the red zone against teams. So to kind of see the Ravens struggle a little bit, I won't say it wasn't surprising, but again, those have been the issues that we've been dealing with all season. So, all right. So last couple things to talk about here. Again, it's a rookie quarterback, essentially, right? He didn't play all last season. He's a rookie quarterback. I know he's technically in his second year, whatever. This was like his fourth game that he's played. And, the whole and I'm barely going to touch on this because I find it obnoxious and corny and whatever. But the whole nine alter ego thing, ridiculous, whatever. I don't care about any of that. But the fact that they can't get to a rookie quarterback who is mobile, but their pass rush still cannot get to a rookie quarterback who his offensive line is also not fantastic. This was the least sacked game of his career. He had, I think it was 3 against the Dolphins, 5 from Atlanta, and then 6 from Detroit or something like that. I might have mixed up the numbers, but he's been sacked 14 times in 3 games. If the Ravens can't find an easier target to get pressure on and sack. But I say all that again, the defense overall played very well in coverage. The fourth down play at the end of the game was nerve-wracking to watch because again, we've seen these Ravens in the fourth quarter sort of fail in that sort of scenario, but if you go back and watch the highlight of it, it is a very funny play to watch. I feel like they need the Benny Hill music over it. If you watch their offensive line trying to stop our guys and then him just completely missing on the throw, the player diving for it, and the game is just essentially over. But our guys played well in defense. They played well in coverage. The pressure was there. It just, again, it wasn't productive. It was good to see Draymond Jones get active, get acclimated to this defense and show himself out a little bit. But again, that interior pressure up the middle from Travis Jones, it's just not there consistently anyway. As far as the offense, they put up 27 points. A lot of field goals, but again, when they needed to put their foot on the gas, they did. I think they probably could have put a little bit more gas on the end of the game. Seemed like they were definitely kind of, again, trying to run the clock out, try to stall, which I don't know. I don't know if they were not offensively effective enough in this game, in my opinion, to play the stall game that they did towards the end of a game. I don't think they were effective enough. I feel like this is one of those weird circumstances where they didn't run the ball well early in the game, but they were running it so well at the end of the game that I kind of didn't want Lamar to throw the ball too much anymore. I think they could have used a little more Keaton Mitchell at the end. Derrick Henry was really starting to get his feet under it. He was starting to get some push. So I think they sort of got away from that, and I don't know if they were just trying to mix it up or something like that, but it didn't end up working out for us. But, a win is a win. And the last thing I'll say about the defense and sort of their progression through this season is the quarterbacks that they've faced and the teams that we've faced, the growth that they've shown over these past 4 games, it is marked. So let me just run through a couple of numbers for you before I head out. So in the Rams game, it was, again, they only scored 17 points, but Matthew Stafford had a 98.4 passer rating in that game. Okay? Moving on to after the bye, we get to the Bears game, and Caleb Williams, he has a 77.2 passer rating in that game. Mind you, the very next game, they put up 47 on Cincinnati and then 24 against New York Giants today. Fast forward again, Dolphins game. Again, it was their lowest, tied for their lowest points of the season or whatever, but Tua Tagovailoa puts up a 70.9 passer rating. So we're getting lower and lower each week. And then this week against, yes, a rookie, but he's a talented rookie and he's got a lot of weapons around him. He had a 54.5 passer rating in this game. So Ravens defense is starting to show up. We need them to do that going forward. Next week's game, it's going to be one where the Ravens absolutely need to get a win, because not only is it a divisional game against the Browns, but we've got the Browns, the Jets, the Bengals, and then the Steelers. So I'm not going to sit here and say that any of these games are a cakewalk, but if the defense can continue to get better at what it's doing and the offense can sort of get back on a roll with play calling, with execution, with blocking from the offensive line, both in pass blocking and run blocking, if they can get all these things sort of figured out before we face a team like the Steelers, because the end of the season, it's not a cakewalk at the end of the season either. We've got the Patriots who are playing well. We've got the Packers, and then we've got the Steelers to end the season. So it is setting up that the division will be decided in that last game of the season. Obviously, things can change before then. But if the Ravens want to continue to make this push for a playoff berth, the offense needs to become a little bit more smooth, again, with its play calling, execution, and blocking. The defense needs to continue this ascent with pressure, continue to cause turnovers, continue to play good in coverage. And then special teams, Luke needs to keep making kicks. He needs to keep making, advances with his kickoffs. And then, if we can get some more points out of the secondary, or more points out of the return game, whether it's punt returns, whether it's kick returns, just set this offense up with good field position, because that's what we saw in this game, is that between the turnovers and everything else, the offense continued to be put in a good position. So even when it wasn't playing lights out like we're used to seeing, they can at least be put in good positions to succeed and end up winning the game. So that's going to be it for me. If you made it this far in the video, please like. If you're new around here, subscribe. And as always, guys, put your comments down below. Yep, we'll see you all for the next one. Have a good night.